Welcome to PCB Chat, where we talk with experts across the printed circuit design, manufacturing, and electronic supply chain fields. I'm Mike Buteau, president of the Printed Circuit Engineering Association. My guest today is Robert Feranec. Robert is a hardware designer with over 20 years' experience in the electronics industry, and he specializes in PCB design, signal integrity, and high-speed digital design. In addition, he is also a self-described passionate content creator on YouTube, where he has developed a large series of help guides for PCB design and electronics engineering. His company, FEDEVEL Academy, also provides courses on electronics design. A busy guy. Welcome to PCB Chat, Robert.
Hi, Mike. Thank you very much for inviting me.
So I've been eager to talk with you for some time. I really want to talk a lot about, some of the tips and tricks that you provide, because I think that you're really adding a lot to the electronics industry here in terms of training the next generation and even the current generation of board designers and electronics engineers. But let's just start at the beginning. How did you get into electronics design?
Thank you for very nice words. That's what I'm trying to do, and I really hope people find the videos and tips useful. And it's basically all based on my experience, how I started. So to answer your question, I started my first projects at university, but university never really taught like how to design PCBs and how to manufacture them, how to build real boards. After university, I found a job, really good job, and there was no hardware department. It was only me and a friend of mine. And as I said, we just came from university. We had no idea what we are doing in hardware design, and that's basically where I did so many mistakes of many of my videos and tips, and that's how it all started. Yeah,
So you came by all your tips and tricks honestly.
yeah. I learned everything the hard way.
So, at what point did you decide to start sharing what you know with others? Was there a grand vision, or was it something that it started small and it just kept growing one video at a time?
After I had this opportunity to work on complicated designs and complicated boards in two different companies, I found out it's very difficult to share these design tips and tricks because everything is usually under NDA, or it is it kind of belongs the company, so people can't really talk about custom projects or company projects. And when I started doing freelancing, so when I left my everyday job, I was like, many of these things what I learned during designing these complicated boards, many of them are very simple. You just need to know them. And that's basically how I started sharing this, because they are not complicated once you know how you do it, or how to do it. And I wanted to help this way many people.
So, not complicated, but I'm assuming there are things you find problematic with the basic approach to PCB design today.
Of course, I'm not. I don't mean like understanding. I don't know, signal integrity or this kind of thing. But we can still go on some kind of lower level, like follow these rules, and your board will work. Or there can be tips like when you are creating schematic, then do it this way, because later when you are working with bombs and when you do component management, you will have this, and these kind of problems. So these can be like there are many simple tips which can be like super useful, or even without going into like this I don't know, simulations or theory, or it's, in my opinion, it's always really good to deeply understand what you are doing, but everyone is starting somehow, And even when people are starting, sometimes they have to design more complex boards. And if they follow some kind of these basic rules or good tips, they still can design really good boards which will work perfectly fine, even without like fully understanding how it actually works. Maybe this is not the best way to present like hardware design engineers work, but as I said, everyone has to start somehow, and you never start with everything understanding everything.
Of course. So, what you're saying is it goes beyond just knowing how to use the tool, and there's more than one tool that you use in the process of doing your videos, correct?
Yeah, so basically, this is one of the questions what people ask me, like which software tool I like the most. Uh, I don't have any preference. Usually, I use what is available or what I should use. For example, often when you work for a company, you have to use the tool what company has. Or, uh, for example, when I left my everyday job and I had to buy this kind of software, I bought the software which was kind of cheap. It was Altium at that time. And now, when I do tutorials for people, and I would like them to focus on hardware design, I use Easy EDA because it's like you don't have to install anything. Libraries are ready. It's very easy and very simple to use. And it's not about the tool. Tool is just helping you to design what you want. And often, some of them are similar if you understand how they work. Some of them are very different, like Cadence. Allegro is like very, very different. But I think it's changing and it's now a little bit easier to use than it used to be maybe like 10 years ago.
The shortage of seasoned layout staff creates an opportunity for printed circuit engineering professionals. Printed Circuit Engineering Professional, a 40-hour course from the Printed Circuit Engineering Association, was developed by leading experts in printed circuit engineering layout with a combined 250 plus years of experience. The course covers approximately 70 major topics, from circuit definition and schematic capture to layout and placement, and materials and manufacturing processes. The course is supported by an optional certification exam endorsed by the PCEA. Classes are available now for registration. Visit pceatraining.net for information. You mentioned libraries. Now, when you worked directly for an OEM, did you have to create your own libraries, or was there somebody to do that for you?
I always so in the companies where I used to work, um, we always created the libraries, and even after I started my own company, I always created libraries. And the main reason is because when you are designing a board which is going to cost, I don't know, $10,000 to build first prototypes, you really don't want to like mess up with, or you don't want to make mistake in footprint or something like this. So and also you follow some kind of standards. You would like to use specific layers. You would like to do it, I don't know, specific way. And you could always go on internet and search for footprints or for components, but then you end up editing them. So basically, I found out it's much easier just to create them by yourself. And if you have many components already, very often you just copy and maybe edit few details, and you have new component ready. So that's yeah, I prefer to create my own components always.
Do you tend to have conversations with the future manufacturer of the board, prior to the footprint development process? I mean, how do you ensure that you're factoring in all the manufacturing constraints into your designs?
So maybe not footprints. Often footprints are taken from reference designs or from data sheets or from previous experience. Maybe we use it in different projects. But PCB itself, definitely for more complex design, it requires to contact PCB manufacturer and talk to them. Very often, what I do when I because these talks they can take a couple of weeks. If you are starting from beginning, you have like if you have, for example, if you need completely new stack up because you are designing suddenly, I don't know, a board for SOD module or something really specific, then it can take really long time to come up with the final stack up. So usually I have the I have this kind of process where I can start doing layout without actually knowing the final parameters of the PCB. And it means I start with some kind of default track width and default space or clearance. And I there are a couple of reasons why I do it this way. One reason is, as I said, if I don't have the exact specification from PC manufacturer, it would delay the project. So I just start with these default values. Then, for example, second reason why I do it this way is uh, these initial values are always designed bigger as I will need them on the final PCB. So, for example, when I use 0.1 millimeter or 4 mils in inner layers as the default value, I know the final track width for 50 ohm impedance is going to be somewhere between 3 to 4 mils or 0.75 or 0.075 up to 0.1 millimeter. And this will give flexibility for this kind of board to be manufactured in multiple PCB houses, because sometimes they don't have specific materials. They have to adjust the track width to meet 50 ohm impedance, and there will be this space always, so they can very easily adjust the tracks. Also, another reason why I do it this way is when the final tracks are a little bit thinner or narrower, then there will be a little bit bigger clearance or space between the tracks, which may lower the crosstalk. There are, as I said, a number of reasons why I do it this way.
And one of the great debates in the ECAD industry is the use of autorouters. Where do you stand on that?
I wanted to create a video about autorouters. So I spent some time playing with, I think, 3 or 4 different softwares. And what I did, I have one finished design, quite high complex design, and I removed 4 tracks from this finished design, and I imported this design into these 4 different softwares, and I asked the auto router to finish these 4 tracks. None of them was able to finish it, and that was the reason why I never really recorded this video, because I was kind of disappointed, and I think with the approach which we with this kind of approach, what we have seen in auto routers for a couple of, I don't know, 10 years, it's not possible to really create like a really good auto router. We will see what will happen with AI, because that can maybe help. And as we talked last time about this topic, so I can mention this. I think to do the auto routing properly is not only about connecting the pins, but understanding if these connections are correct. And that's what is difficult on auto router. So one of the solutions how this can be done is, for example, somehow connect the auto router with simulations. So auto router will know when it creates some connections. These connections are going to work well. There is not going to be crosstalk, or the signal will be perfect. So this is how it should work in future. Just connecting the pins is maybe good enough for large PCBs, simple PCBs, but definitely not like for future PCBs.
Right. So, in other words, the place and route portion of the board design and the simulation need to happen concurrently rather than sequentially. Is that a fair statement?
I don't know exactly how this will be implemented. I think there may be more versions. So it may be like route it, simulate, or route a couple of tracks, simulate them. If they are okay, route another track, simulate maybe. I don't think it will be the best like simulate everything or run connect everything and simulate everything, or maybe it can be option because maybe only some of the tracks will be bad. I don't know, but I was talking. Actually, I created a video with one guy. His name is Sergey, and we created video about how to teach a robot to walk. But basically, his company is working on AI autorouter, and he explained a lot how they are thinking actually do this. So it would not maybe even be like simulation and routing, but for example, they would like to create a model because machine learning is using models for decisions. They would like to create some kind of models which would be created based on the um, situations where this auto router would learn itself on different situations. So how the robot learn walk, like try all the kind of doing all the steps and then find out, oh, okay, I can do it now. So based on like routing simulating, it would this auto router would kind of learn what kind of routing is correct. So it would not necessarily mean it would need simulate every time after it routed. It would just know it's routing properly.
Right. And the overriding concern is to reduce the number of iterations, right? To have the planning correct so that when you sit down to design the board and send it to manufacturing, you know it's accurate.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it will work. It's going to work.
So let's talk a bit about FEDEVEL Academy. You've prepared tips and tricks on a wide variety of topics. Do you have any personal favorites?
Uh, I'm thinking. I think I created like 100 videos about these tips and tricks, and
Like asking who your favorite child is, huh?
I don't know which one was the favorite. I think the very popular are usually about crosstalk or this kind of things because that's kind of problem what I think everyone starting with hardware design they experience like something. Oh, what is happening on my board? Why it's freezing? Why is resetting? I'm getting all these random interrupts and this should not be happening. So what's going on? So I think these like interrupt tips or crosstalk tips probably are my favorite ones.
Now, one of the things I think folks should know is that it's not just you speaking. You do have guests on, and you will talk about certain topics. And one of the things that I've noted in watching some of your videos is just how well you take what can be a complicated subject, some difficult concepts, and make them very easy for folks to understand. I mean, I'm not an electrical engineer. I can absolutely follow what you're saying. Do you put a lot of thought into how you communicate certain concepts, or is this just kind of how you've just a talent you've always had?
Oh, I'm not clever. That's why. so,
But I mean,
so
Robert, I mean, you don't come across as being a university professor talking at a 30,000 foot level about something, and you're not so granular that people get lost in the physics of it. It's very easy to understand and put into practice, in my opinion.
not that's. Thank you first. Thank you very much. That's what I'm trying to do. But what I wanted to say is basically because, as I say, I'm not super clever. I never was like number one at university or in class or something. And it means when I have this opportunity to talk to these very clever people, I always try to understand what they are saying. So I have to somehow translate it to my language, lower level language, and uh, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do in the videos.
And those videos, although we're talking in English, I know the videos are in multiple languages. Do you want to provide a list for our audience?
Uh, Usually, I do them in English.
Right, but the Academy has the
Oh,
option to.
oh yeah. I usually when I have a look on my YouTube statistics, I can see the countries, what are the people from watching these kind of topics. So often, of course, most of them are like US, but then there is also like Germany, Turkey, UK, India, and it means these are mostly the languages which we use also in our courses.
Mhm. And the courses are longer length. Unlike the YouTube videos, your courses are actually more in depth, and they include, certification exams or other tests to ensure that the students understand the concepts. Correct?
Yes, just recently I had a call, uh, and the guy asked me like, "Why should I buy your course? Because everything is free on YouTube." And the goal of the courses what I create is I try to put everything into one package. It means you can find a lot of information on YouTube, but first, you don't know if it's true. You don't know who is really creating the content and if they really understand what they are doing. What is their experience? Have they really done this before? Did they have they have they designed complicated boards? And also, uh, often on YouTube, you only find very focused topics. So if you don't know exactly what you are looking for, you may never find it because you never heard about specific thing what you would like to learn about. So in the courses, my goal in the courses is start from beginning and explain everything what people need to know until the finished product, for example. So that's why I created the courses. Uh, because if you are starting, you really, for me, most useful is to see step by step. I really don't like the kind of videos where you don't even see where people click or what are their settings, and you try to replicate what they are doing, and you are like, this doesn't work on my computer. So I always when I create videos or courses, I try to do it step by step so everyone see exactly how I'm doing this and they can easily replicate everything.
So, Robert, why don't you tell our audience where they can see examples of or where they can find you on in your academy and also on YouTube?
So my YouTube channel, they can just search for my name, Robert Feranec, uh, and uh, and our courses are placed on fedevel.com. Many people ask me what this means, FEDEVEL. So it's from Feranec Development. So now maybe everyone will remember because there are so many mistakes. FEDEVAL and all the kind of names I've seen for my company. Uh, and a very good way to contact me or connect with me is also LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn a lot, and I see many professionals actually use LinkedIn, and I think it works very well for hardware design engineers and group of people interested in electronics.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us on PCB Chat, Robert, and I hope we talk again soon.
Thank you very much, Mike, for inviting me and having me on your podcast.
This is Mike Buteau for PCB Chat. Have a good day.